The scary part to me is some of the hazing that goes on from inmates. Then the biggest thing was that scared me the most watching some of the footage. We had one particular undercover participant, Brian, which is an attorney, where inmates were basically stripping down and trying to lay next to him, hazing him, although he felt he wasn't ever in danger of being raped or anything like that. It got to the point where towards the end where they started using words where he thought they were going to fight. That was scary to me because A, it was never brought to my attention. The staff, because they're so busy and because at that time we had such poor technology, they didn't see it.
Right.
But then the undercover participant never reported it in his debrief until actually saw it on TV about the same time as everybody else. And that's the integrity of this program, that it was never me sitting there guiding, oh, show this, don't show that. And I'm sure exactly the same with you. I had to take the good with the bad.
You know, I plan on not only doing that, but the show will become part of my weekly command staff meetings.
Absolutely.
You know, we're going to view the show, critique it, and each one of my commanders are going to come up with solutions to things that we identified as problems. Without this program, and without being able to show the staff the implications of what happens when you do your job poorly or if you do your job well, because we saw a lot of good.
Absolutely.
The staff did a lot of good. And unless they can see that for themselves, it doesn't have the same impact as someone telling them about it at roll call.
Shut the door on me. I'm like, some you know what I'm saying? I told you to call the room. I'm like, yo, but I ain't never had a problem with you. Or you trying to talk crazy to me and put me down? My response to you was gonna be something that you ain't gonna like. He told me to go back in there. That's what I really saw. Never thought I would get into it with a CO. That's the last thing on my mind. But when I get emotional, man, it's kind of hard for me to hold back.
No talking. Be quiet. Because I'm telling you, that's why. Stand on the wall.
Any kind of thing you say to him, got thin skin. He can't deal with it, you know what I mean? He feel like, oh, I gotta be macho, I gotta be tough.
I tell you to do something. You running your mouth and not called for. I told you to be quiet.
They got all the power, man. If you're an inmate, man, you really can't do too much, man. You can't say nothing to him. It's my way or the highway, you know what I'm saying? What y'all gonna do about it, basically?
You know, I think Fulton County's had a little bit taller order than what I did. The rollout of 60 Days In was already out and in the public when he started inserting undercover participants into his jail, which made his job a little bit harder than mine. Both jails were similarly situated, in my opinion, were understaffed, underfunded. A lot of jails are throughout the country. But I think looking at the simple thing, the problems are always there.
There's always
Just
a common denominator.
the bigger the facility, which I'm a fairly large jail for the state of Indiana, and
Sure.
you're a significantly bigger jail than what we have. It just amplifies the problem more when it's a bigger facility.
Exactly. I think we found that our cracks were actually chasms. I was really interested in knowing how the inmates perceive this system. Why are they so resistant to our anti-recidivism programming? Why do they keep coming to jail over and over again?
But there's no way that we could have got the public awareness and that deterrent factor for a kid sitting home not to want to go to jail. This is what a short-staffed, understaffed, underfunded facility looks like. And it's like that in the Clark County Jail. I'm assuming it's the same in your county.
Absolutely.
And a lot of other counties throughout the country. We need the funding and we need the equipment and the programming that when we have people in our jail that they're not just sitting there all the time. We got a lot of positive comments back from the community, but they would say, did you know if you had an officer sitting in that section, that probably wouldn't have happened? Well, absolutely. But if I had an officer sitting in every section just where we filmed this part of the thing, I wouldn't have anybody else in the rest of the jail.
Exactly.
I really going into this figured I'm just gonna be a one-term sheriff because something's gonna go bad.
An original viewer of season 1 thinking to myself, boy, this guy's got guts. I just could not imagine someone being able to pull something like this off. And then just a few weeks later, my sheriff gets a phone call. Sheriff Ted Jackson gets a phone call inquiring whether or not we would be interested in doing something like this. Not only are we doing it to illustrate to the viewers the hazards of going to jail, this gave us an opportunity to do a self-diagnostics on our system. We were getting, in my opinion, complacent. I saw this as an opportunity to illustrate to my staff what our concern should be.
I really, going into this, figured I'm just going to be a one-term sheriff because something's going to go bad and it would, I would never get reelected. But I knew, make it through it, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And I've had several people where I'm an elected sheriff, so I want to let you know, I didn't support you in the election. I was against you, but I support you 1,000% now because it took a big set of blank to do something.
And that's
like
what
this.
actually I thought, because I say guts when I'm on camera, but in my head, that's exactly what I said. I think, working for a sheriff and being the leader of the part of the criminal justice system that has the care, custody, control of so many souls. If we're not right, then the rest of the criminal justice system in our jurisdiction is not right. So we have got to get it right so that everyone else falls in line and gets it right as well.
Absolutely. They'll say, I've swallowed a toothbrush or whatever just to get a free ride to the hospital. And for us, I don't like it because we were able to get those 2 body scanners, which really has helped tremendously. And not just from the inmate, but it keeps their staff integrity, where we'll do randomly put staff through. But then also when we have visitors come in, whether it's family members or whether it's an attorney, if they're coming inside that secure facility, they're going through the same body scanner. And it's really cut down the amount of contraband and illegal drugs and cell phones that are coming into our facility or that were coming into our facility.
That's my step too, because we've already instituted changes in the way we screen people coming in the back door of the jail, but phase 2 is acquiring those body scanners so that we can maintain the focus for those screenings on what it should be, and that is finding the contraband each and every time.
And another thing those body scanners help our medical department is, as you well know, occasionally inmates will get stressed out, so they'll swallow something, whether it be a toothbrush, you name it, they'll try to swallow it to get out, figure, well, they'll let me out.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, unfortunately, they'll say, I've swallowed a toothbrush or whatever just to get a free ride to the hospital or maybe to try to escape. Well, they can't do that anymore with the body scanner because it's either they've either done it or they haven't. So It's cut down on a lot of those incidents.